What is up, YouTube? This is Alucard AFK with another MTGO game with commentary. So, opening hand, we had a negate, a mana leak, 2 swamps, a mind sculpt, a snapcaster, and a swift boots. I probably should have kept this hand, even though we got no blue sources, but I didn't. I gambled a little bit. I went ahead and mulliganed and got one Dark Slick Shores, which is a black and blue source, but we have essentially no other lands and only utility cards, so it would have been banking on possibly getting another swamp for distress, and then sitting around with mana leak or go for the throat. So it was a little off defensive for me, even though this is a control deck. So I mulled again, and it just doesn't get any better. And I mean that not even in a good way. So we only got 2 swamps, Dark Slick Shores, Phyrexian Obliterator, and Black Sun Zenith. So we've got 5 cards now. We can do something at least with this. We can ramp up to Obliterator, or we can clear the board. So still not a great hand at all. Sometimes you just lose on the mulligan game. So we play a Land of War Elves. And we got a Minorot. That'll definitely help us become on equal footing, essentially. So we lost 2 cards, and he's going to lose 2 cards here. And by the time we get to that, he'll probably play 3 cards. So plays a Rampant Growth and a Forest. Then he'll sling in with the elves. And we got another swamp. So still can't play anything, and we'll pass the turn. We'll play another elf and a Rune Claw Bear. And we'll go to 18. Dark Slick Shores. Go ahead and play Dark Slick Shores. And we'll do a Minorot with his remaining 2 cards. They were only Forest, but now he's empty-handed. Or 1 card. And he'll swing in with all those guys. We'll go to 14. So we got a Ponder. Go ahead and play a Swamp. And we'll go ahead and clear the board with Black Sun Zenith. I normally wouldn't do that if they were just 1/1s. But he can use these as additional forests, so we got rid of his 2 forests, and now we'll get rid of these 2 forests essentially, so he'll remain at 4, and we're at 4 mana, so it just puts us more on equal footing, and it gets rid of some of his pecking damage here, so put out a Deadly Recluse, Reach, and Death Touch. So for a 1/2 to have Death Touch is just insane, and the fact that he can reach, that means he can get flying creatures. It's just crazy. Only green can have something like that. I mean, it's almost like a Vampire Nighthawk without the, obviously Vampire Nighthawk doesn't have reach, but he's already flying, and Vampire Nighthawk is higher costing, and he's a 2/3, I believe. So, and he doesn't have lifelink, but just, geez, for 2 mana, Death Touch. So we'll do a Ponder, and we have 2 swamps and a Witchbane Orb. So, not that Witchbane Orb will be that great against green, but we hope go ahead and get it. So, and then we'll go ahead and just play it. We could have played a Phyrexian Obliterator here. I was hoping I would get some utility cards, especially Swiftfoot Boots which gives Phyrexian Obliterator Hex, Proof, and Haste, but So swing in with the spider. We'll go to 13. And we got a swamp. And so we'll go ahead and put Phyrexian Obliterator out now. We'll wait long enough. And I'll do a naturalize, destroy target artifact or enchantment, so he'll get rid of Witchbane Orb. Essentially we gave him something to kill, so. Another swamp. Sometimes you just get lands. And we won't swing in. You know, he's got Death Touch, so he could block us. And yes, 4 damage would trample over. He would have to sacrifice 1 permanent, which may mess up his mana even more. He's got 3, 4, 5 mana. We've got significantly more, so I just didn't think it was worth it. So. You'll play Ranger's Pass, search your library for up to 2 forest cards and put them on onto the battlefield, tapped, and shuffle your library. And I really like the effect that this does. Yeah, say they're like, they just float in and out of nowhere. Most of the other cards, they just, when you bring in the swamps, they just come in tapped. So, and maybe that's a new effect that's come out. I don't have the beta client, but I've seen some things change already. So we got a Drowned Catacomb. We're just getting lands like crazy, which is fine. So, and we don't swing in again. It's really pointless at this point, especially after he got the 2 forest on top of that. So we got another Phyrexian Obliterator. So in this case, I'm not too worried about not swinging in. We've got at least 1 Obliterator out there to block. So. And he initially started to block it, and then he decided, I'll let it go through. Which, you know, it's fine. He had 20 life. So we'll bring out a Dustdale Worm. He's a 7/7 with trample. He's a 7-drop for 7 with trample, so. And we got Jace. So this was a perfect order. We've got both our Obliterators, utility cards. But again, they're singletons, essentially, you know, so we're not going to get them every single time. So they're still really effective blockers. You know, if they were just 5/5s for 4, they would still be good, but I don't know if I would, you know, if I would keep them. Their sacrifice permanent ability is just nice. So bring out Jace. We'll go ahead and do top 10 cards of his library into his graveyard. And so he had a Worm's Tooth. Whenever a player casts a green spell, you gain 1 life. That's nice. Jade Mage, put a 1/1 green sapling creature onto the battlefield. I really like the card art there. That's pretty cool. Forest, Emissary. When an Emissary dies, you search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tab, then shuffle your library. Centaur Courser, Fog. It's a Bane. That's a not good thing. But, you know, we're not going to be swinging in with Obliterators anyway, so we don't really care. And Forest. So, that's a nice thing about this deck is once we get Jace out, we don't no longer have to be, you know, offensive with Obliterators. We can just be defensive. Until they try to swing in, and then, of course. So, play Ranger's Path, 2 more Forest, and they'll come in all gangster-like, slide in, tapped. So it's a standoff between the Obliterators and the Spider and the Worm. Do another 10 cards. He's down to 18 cards. So we have an Elf, Rune Called Bear, another Elf, Naturalize. So I can't get rid of it. So Ring of Colonia, that's a new one. Equip creature has trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 counter on equipped creature if it's green. Arbor Elf. Overrun. Creatures you get 3/3 and gain trample instead of turn. So all these things are really nice, but trample doesn't do a whole lot if you can block up to 10 damage, and we have trample as well, so you know, if Dustdale Worm swings in, we'll block with both Obliterators, so he'll have to sacrifice, you know, a total of 7 permanent, so, but, you know, you do what you gotta do, right? So play Hunter's Insight. Choose target creature you control. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player or a planeswalker this turn, draw that many cards. And so it bounced off of it. I don't really know essentially why it bounced off. It usually would go behind it. So something about the Dustale Worm, you know, it just bounced off. Not sure why that happened. Maybe somebody can explain that to me. Unless just the effect didn't show that the Hunter's Insight is behind. I don't know. It's in his graveyard, so. So he'll swing in with Dustale Worm, attacking Jace, and we have no choice, sir, but to block you. So, to be a total of 7 permanents he'll have to get rid of. I like how he selected the card art specifically. He was going back and forth on that. He was like, I really like that card art. I don't want to sacrifice that land. But all the other lands, that's okay. Nope, didn't like that one. I like these ones over here. The big tree and the foil one and this guy. I really like those ones, so I'm going to keep those. So he's got 17 cards, and we drew a Mind Sculpt. So Mind Sculpt is 7, Jace is 10. So do I need to explain what happens here? 7, 10. And just take a gander just to see if there was anything crazy in here. So, Nature's Herald, Flash, you may cast green creature cards as if they had Flash. That's nice. You always know, unless they just put foil in everything, if they do a foil of a specific card, unless they got it in a pack or something, they're like, oh, I like this card. This is one of my winning strategies. So, I don't really see anything too crazy in here. Looks like just a solid mono green deck. So, and we don't even swing in. Just that would add insult to injury to sacrifice one more card because he would for sure block it, right? So game ended on turn 13 due to the fact that he had no cards in his library and only one card in his hand. So this really, like the last game, demonstrated, especially with 2 Phyrexian Obliterators, what this deck is all about. And I've nicknamed this deck Jace's Obliterators, and I think that really suits. So Obliterators can win on their own if need be, but their primary responsibility is to protect Jace. Nothing else. So if we happen to not get Jace out, then they'll keep swinging in. We'll have utility cards like Swiftfoot Boots, give them Hexproof and Haste, and Flight, and Ghostly Touch, so they can tap creatures and things like that, so they can keep swinging in. But if none of that happens, then essentially they can just block for Jace. So comment, like, and subscribe. We'll catch you later, guys. Bye.